university can be a daunting experience for many people. I moved here 2 years ago after ditching the idea to go to London to be a jazz musician, as I didn't feel that was what I really wanted to do in the end. When I got here, I felt there was a great sense of community amongst everyone. There's people I could relate my own experiences with, and people going through similar emotions, so I didn't feel I was alone at that point. Based at the School of Music, I've been doing the composition module now since first year, which I think highly demonstrates an example of why community is important to one's own personal development. I never seriously wanted to study composition to begin with, but I wanted to develop as an improviser, and I felt I could absorb the different techniques and examples from that to put into perspective. Our composition tutors on the module have been very adamant that the way you develop as people and as composers is by playing and talking through your ideas with other people, so feeding off each other's sort of minds, metaphorically speaking. But I became more intrigued by utilising this term collaboration to use within the community of other like-minded people as a method for making new and interesting sounds and ideas. So this collaborative event began one day in a not so very inspiring lecture during first year, and as some of you may know, when people get restless, people get chatting, and I happened to be sitting next to a guy who had heard me playing a jazz piano masterclass, and we got discussing about the idea of getting together for a jam, so I went, great, let's do it. So he's a drummer, I'm a pianist, and both of us got together, and both being composition students, we managed to be able to exercise our studies plus our musical interest, and it created a really good result. So I got thinking about the concept of holding a regular meeting where people like this could collaborate, and going back to what our tutors were saying, that this should really be coming from the students rather than the actual teachers themselves. So I made a call out, and last November we got a small number, but a regular group that came along on a weekly basis. However, our first event wasn't a great success in terms of a few people left the room quite early, as the experimental nature of what we did was like the sound of a plane coming towards them, but fortunately no one was injured there. And it's during this time I got an interest within the arts from the music I was listening to. That first example we had on their band called Roxy Music from the 70s were a mixture of musicians and artists who utilised all these different talents and experiences from art and music into kind of a collage, which I found intriguing. And another event I came across while being here is a project called the Confluence Project in Sheffield, which is like a community of artists and musicians who get together to try and expand each other's creative potentials. So these developments have pushed me in the direction to get more involved with the community in Leeds in an effort to form connections with other like-minded people and organisations who like to aspire to make cross-disciplinary collaborations between music and the arts. So the first place we needed to look for was a venue, and the venues are, from my perspective, I like to go for these sort of post-industrial surroundings, so places like old warehouses and mills that have been transformed into places for performance and the arts, so places that have like a DIY effort to its structure. And one of the places we went to begin with was a place called Wolf Chambers in Kirkgate in the city centre, which is a fabulous place you should go to if you get the chance. And I like to be able to move between different venues, and part of my research is I'm experimenting with different environments now. That's changed the way one behaves when they're expressing themselves. So at our first workshop we had musicians from the university, from the College of Music, and we even had a guy who came all the way from Liverpool who heard about it via social media, which was great, and some great networking opportunities at the end of that. But it was our second workshop this month, which we had, it was a great success. We had more new people come to discover our project, and we did an array of interesting and kind of crazy things, which I won't be able to say in about 15 seconds, but if you like to speak to me about them afterwards, then I'm more than happy to. We had a guy called Scott McCaulin who works here. He's an Irish-born, now Huddersfield resident composer, who I thought contributed very well to the process. And the one thing that was noticeable was the absence of non-musicians or art personnel, so I'm trying to attract to this group. So I'm currently looking for other ways to do that. And from my perspective, I think there's no boundaries as what one may consider as art, whether it be from filmmaking to fine art, or even something like chess playing or gardening. It's up to interpretation when we open the door to all kinds. And I call this project, I use the terms improvisation, experimentation in this project, as I feel that they're well connected to the local music and arts scene and the university, and I like to be able to continue promoting these values, where the high educational, creative and social values that I think they bring to the community. So thank you, Leeds, and thank you for listening.